That relationship broke up. My wife stopped hanging around or being friends with his old girlfriend, and we just didn't run in the same circles anymore. I mean, we just didn't socialize. So, and then all of a sudden, Don pops up, and he's, part of this effort to say whatever about me, and, you got to say...
So your response to that, in a mature, realistic manner, was to insult his dead wife.
To insult his dead wife?
Correct.
No, he wasn't married to her.
Or his dead girlfriend. And you thought that was what a Marine should do.
Oh, and now we're going to balance my morality against everybody else's by saying...
Marines don't care about other people's morality, only their own.
Listen, you're no fucking authority on Marines. That's number one.
I'm a fucking authority on you being an asshole, but that's hey.
You might well be, and I might be an asshole, but there are a lot of assholes out there walking around. Okay?
Now, what do you say to the letter that I received this week regarding the New York State Attorney General's office currently investigating you for charity fraud? Based on the fact that your announcement on raising the price of the maps, as well as the fact that you're selling them for an unnamed charity that might get the money sometime in the future, warrants them investigating it.
Hey, that's fine.
Okay.
I haven't gotten any kind of contact.
Well, you won't, because they're still investigating it. According to the letter I received this week.
Can I see the letter?
I'd love to give you that information, but like your lawyers, that has to remain confidential.
That's fine.
Now, if you'd like to present a warrant to me or a legal letter from a lawyer from a court,
it would be a subpoena.
Okay.
It would be a subpoena.
I'll be more than happy to provide that information to you when the subpoena comes out.
That's fine.
I figure a taste of your own medicine there, it doesn't hurt at all, does it?
If you think it's a taste of my own medicine, then whatever you think, that's your prerogative, and you're certainly welcome to take.
Now, what about when you stated on your blog that the minute you found out who Artful Angie was, and the minute they stood out in the middle of a crowd somewhere and shouted out their opinion, you were just going to walk right up and punch them in the face?
No.
Here's my face, Rick.
What I said, Jeff, was that in regards to Artful Angie, or anybody that has to go online and use a screen name...
Well, because every time somebody goes on there with their own name, you try to dig up interesting things. Pictures of Scott Reed, pictures of Jim Ritchie, pictures of their kids, threatening to go to a Riscany to see Mike Malat's mother.
Yeah. I actually had more contact.
And that's being a stand-up guy. That's being a professional that somebody wants to work with.
Let me finish. When Mike Malat came into the club, he was, again, all of around 12 or 13 years old. I think he was 12 years old, okay? I had more interactions and dealings with his mother in regards to him and what she wanted him to do and why she wanted to involve him in the club as a child, as a younger person, than I did necessarily him. And it was only over the years of him growing and maturing to the point where he went away to school that I came to even know Mike in regards to him coming to the local meetings being held in Whitesboro at the Dunham Public Library at that point in time.
Oh, I know all about those meetings, because that's the reason why I became Artful Angie, was because one of my friends got basically screwed over by you at that meeting.
And who's that?
I'm not going to say her name, but once you find out, like you've been saying for 2 years now, once you find out who Artful Angie was, you'd know all the stories and you'd be able to go out and tell all the stories. So I'll leave that to you to do your research after the show.
Well, there weren't that many females that were involved in the club locally. We had more on the mailing list, the active mailing list at that time.
That would be the 56 bajillion people that
no, it was a little over 1,800 people.
Because, and that story, that number has always changed over the years as well.
No, it hasn't.
I'm curious that you don't have... Of all the hundreds of people that you had in Orca at the time, that you still only have like 46, 47 members in the new Facebook group, and only 2 people who come to your defense at any one time.
Actually, there's a little over 50 people. They're mature, mostly mature readers. They're vendors.
How many of them are former Orca members?
Pardon me?
How many of them are former Orca members?
There's probably about 7 or 8 former members.
Is Dave Lamphere one of them?
Is who?
Dave Lamphere.
Lamphere? No, not to my knowledge. Not unless he's in there underneath some other identity. I don't know what.
Because I find it funny, when you were here 2 weeks ago, you gave us that great issue of Orca Fresh where it spotlights Dave Lamphere on the cover and everything, and then you've done everything in your power over the last few years to kind of,
Which issue spotlights Dave Lamphere?
It's the one you gave us 2 weeks ago. I'm sure it's not that one.
This one?
No, it's not that one.
This was the one that I did, that I gave, but
no, it's actually not that one you gave us last week or 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
It has a picture of Dave on the cover. Why did Dave leave the show?
Wait a minute. Of Dave Lanfear?
Yes.
I'm going to have to ask you to. Have you got that somewhere?
It's upstairs. We can show it to you after the show.
That's fine.
But I find it funny that here are all these people that you tout over the years as, oh, Dave was a great part of the this, but then these people want nothing to do with you afterwards because I hear stories and stories and stories about how you screw people over.
I don't screw people over. Okay. Here again, I don't know why this happens.
You don't know why so many people say that you don't pay your debts, don't keep your promises, and are an all-around con artist.
First off,
so that when they go to people that are showing up at your con and say, hey, by the way, watch out for this guy, they suddenly do the research on you and say, whoa, Nelly, we're not showing up at a convention in Old Forge.
Well, now, here's the thing. You see, this research, you say, when they do the research on me, is just something that's taken place just during the course of this whole Gail Simone thing in 2003 and in the aftermath.
Which, yes or no, during our first meeting, did you not tell me how much you liked Gail Simone?
Oh, I did. That's why I...
No, you said you do.
No.
You said one of your favorite writers at that point was Gail Simone. Well, not even a month ago.
And I was going, when I said I did, I wasn't meaning that I don't like her now. Mm-hmm. What I'm saying is that when I liked her, it was when I originally discovered her abilities as a writer and the fact that she was female. And at that point in time, there weren't too many females in there still aren't too many females in the comic book industry, writers or artist-wise. Okay.
But then you go ahead and jump on your blog and tell people how she doesn't know how to write, how her alias is Gail Simone. What about Stan Lee's alias? Seems like you never seem to have something to say about that when they bring that up as
I think Stan actually changed his name.
So legally. If she legally changed her name to Gail Simone, you'd stop using the little quotation marks?
Jeff, again, it comes down to, if Stan Lee were to attack me, if I didn't really know that much about Stan, if I only knew Stan like from maybe 4 or 5 years and I didn't know anything about what Stan had done and starting what he did with Marvel and before with Timely and so forth, I probably would be just as jaded against him for the way he was saying and what he was saying about me online as the way I reacted to Gail.
But look at what I'm saying. I'm saying this. Your way to react to the jadedness that you have because of Gail attacking you is to basically tell people, well, she's writing under a fake name. Well, she's not the only one in the industry that ever did that. So how is that your argument?
No, she's not. She's not the only person that's ever used.
So how does that do anything other than make you look like an idiot online?
Oh, maybe it does. I mean, that's up to you and anybody else that's reading whatever I write and put out there. Okay. You're welcome to your opinion. That's what being an American and living in this great country is all about. Absolutely.
So you understand why so many people are going based on what you say and how you say it. Like when you...
What do you mean so many people? My understanding is that I've only got a readership of just you few.
I got 18 pages of comments from people basically telling us, why did we have you on the show? And I'm going to tell you right now, this is why we've had you on the show.
Right.
Is to basically hold you accountable for what you've done to the industry and to the Mohawk Valley's comic.
It's called playing hangman, and I haven't done anything to the industry. The things that I've done during the time that I've been publicly out there, okay, which according to my haters, which obviously you're one of them.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, listen, according to you and your friends, okay, I have not contributed anything. So then why am I here other than the fact that you want to play hangman?
Because you've tried to make yourself built up in other people's eyes as someone who's done something in the industry.
Yeah? Well, how is that any different than somebody that writes a comic book and then goes and appears at a convention, whether they're a small
press,
press,
they've actually done something, for starters.
What do you mean they've actually done something?
They've actually written a comic book.
I have written a comic book, too.
Where is it?
Again, if you'd give me some kind of knowledge, you think I'm going to bring a stack of stuff like this?
Was this a surprise that you were coming to the podcast today?
Yeah, but I didn't know that I was going to have to substantiate what I've done previously writing in regards to any
what have you done previously writing, with the exception of Orca Fresh? How about your copies of your recent APA?
What about it?
Did you bring one of them?
No. Did you want to see one? I'll bring some in.
We'd love to have one over. Next time, you're more than welcome to come to the show. We'd love to see that.
Well, that's fine. That's fine.
Because here's the thing, Rick. You got to understand. right? I walked back home after 10 years of being out of the area to find out that there is zero interest in a comic book convention in this area because of you. For no other reason than the name Rick Olney and what it represents, this area.
And where did you get that
and then,
from? Where'd you hear that?
I'm not going to tell you my sources. Just like you won't tell us the lawyer that told you don't show up for court.
Yeah.
And you'll get it overturned on an appeal 5 years ago.
There's a little difference there in regards to a legal level versus, somebody telling you something smack about somebody else and you just either buying it and believing it and passing it on.
Well, I believe
or getting to know the person that,
all right, and everything that I've seen from them,
right,
I see in you. It'd be one thing if they told me, hey, he had horns and a pitchfork, and he was the devil's puppet.
Yeah, the sad thing. The sad thing is,
but the first thing you did when you and I sat down and had lunch was start explaining to me why you're so notorious.
Yeah.
I pretended like I didn't even know you from Adam, and you go out of your way to say, "Oh, by the way, you're going to find out things about me, but they're not real."
Hey, they're not. You got the award. You win the award, the Academy Award listen, I'm really pleased to meet you, okay? Doesn't mean I like you or hate you any less than I might. That's not the point. The point is I came to you because you were interested in coming to me. You're the one that went through Peter, and after he said whatever, all right, I'm fine with that. The point is I then came to you. I gave you a comic book because I thought it might be something you like. Mm-hmm. I brought a copy for Dante, okay? Because I'm not the type of person that's going to give one person something because I'm trying to kiss their ass or whatever.
But isn't that what you do every time you meet somebody that you want to get something out of?
No. What did I want to get out of you?
You've been, for one thing, being on this podcast.
No.
Rick, you and I are going to go around in circles for a while, but the bottom line is, now you know who Art Phalange is.
Yeah.
So now you don't have to worry about spending $1,000 to commit a federal crime. Right? And that you're more than welcome to come back on in the weeks and months to follow. We are going to, of course, continue discussing this.
All I can say is that I came to you sincerely.
And those people who come to your con and get screwed over come sincerely.
And who's gotten screwed over? This is the other thing.
Those people who came to those Orca meetings and wanted to actually contribute to your little newsletter and got screwed over.
How did they get screwed over?
I'm not going to mention her name, but you and I both know who I'm talking about.
No, I don't.
Well, then if you don't, then obviously it was not as important to you
now
because it was all about you, like Orca was.
Let me just try and go back now here through my thoughts, because in regards to the meetings that we held at the Dunham Public Library, during that period of time that we held those meetings, we only had like 4 or 5 females that showed up.
Well, then it should make it easy for you to figure out who I'm talking about.
Well, I thought I knew them all. I mean, I thought I knew of them well enough to know that they all liked manga.
And they thought they knew you until it was too late.
You're going to have to be more specific in why.
Well, we've asked you for specifics, but you told us we need to get a lawyer or a judge's warrant and all this stuff.
No.
So we're just going to play the same game you've been playing for 7 years, which is you're just going to have to figure it out.
Well, I don't.
I'm not in the field to give details.
I don't think it's going to be that tough to figure out. I just have to go back and try and figure out what it was that somebody wanted to have put in the newsletter that obviously didn't make it, or that they got rejected or turned away.
It wasn't just rejected and turned away. You basically degraded them in front of other people and made them leave that meeting crying. Does that give you a hint who I'm talking about?
No. Okay. No, it doesn't.
At this point, then, we're going to go ahead and end the podcast. Unless Dante, you got anything you want to add?
Well, here's the other thing. Again, it comes...
No.
Let me just say one last thing.
Okay, go ahead.
Let me just say...
I'll let you defend yourself again with more bullshit.
Well, okay, but here's what I'm going to say to you. You present this open-end presentation in regards to who this person is, and I'm supposed to figure it out, and blah, 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 okay? I can understand that. But I can tell you that, to my knowledge, I don't remember anybody, female or even male, going out of one of the meetings crying.
I'll tell you, this person is a close personal friend of mine for years, and when I came home, she was one of the many people who really told me when I came home and said, hey, you know, I'm thinking maybe we should start a comic book convention around here, and was told, you can't do it because Rick Olney has ruined the comic industry around here for us. And I go, who's Rick Olney? And then I did my research. I went into Google, and the first thing that comes up is Rick Olney hates children and makes them starve. And that's based on you not paying an artist who came to you in all fairness and said,
"Look, you're talking about Caesar.
If that's who if that's who you want to go ahead and mention the name of, yes, I'm talking about Caesar."
Yeah, I didn't know anything about Caesar's baby being sick until after the fact.
But it was okay for you before the fact to fuck him over.
No, I didn't fuck him over. I didn't fuck him over at all. The point was that we had there were obligations on both parts that didn't work out, that didn't come through. And again, when it comes down to some of these people that have made these claims that they're owed, here I am. Okay, well, there's Matt Bush, who went on record after your email exchanges that said he wants the maps back. No,
Okay.
That's not necessarily how. And I'm still going to release to you.
I'd love to see
let me first say that before I release to you now, I have to make sure that what it comes down to here is that I'm not putting the noose around my neck. Okay?
Well, I'm afraid it's a little late for that. But.
Well, because, again, it might come down to the situation where this would go into a court of law in order to be sorted out, okay? Because
an easy way to look good for you in the eyes of a judge is return the maps and return the money that you've already gotten for the maps that you sold. Then a judge says, oh, well, you know, there may have been a mix-up of communication, there may have been this, but he gave the money and he gave the property back to the person who owns it.
The judge can tell me that at any point in time. It's not my place. It's
wonder
Matt's
why
place.
People have a question about your personal integrity.
No, it doesn't come down to
it absolutely comes down to personal integrity, Rick, and you have none. Okay, folks, at this point, we're going to go ahead and end this podcast. We're at an hour 30 already. I want to thank everybody listening. I want to, of course, thank Rick and Dante for showing up. It was definitely an interesting one.
Well, it was a pleasure to meet you.
All right, folks.
Now I can put a name or a face behind the name.
Absolutely, and I look forward to seeing what's going to happen as a result of it. So, on behalf of that, folks, this is Jeff saying stay geeky.